the reality is that it evolved from certain misuse of funds starting last year, when during the budget hearings of the Philippines, you tend to account for your spending in the previous years. And there were findings by our own audit institutions to show that there were misuse or abuse of of funds in the Department of Education, where it was headed by then VP Duterte, and also the Office of the Vice President. So it has triggered a word war since the start of this year, and it really reached its peak just over the weekend when you hear of assassination. When something happens to me, there are people who are now ready to assassinate the president and the wife and the rest of the family. So it has really taken that turn.
Victor, this is a mass distraction, isn't it? When the country has real problems, including housing the victims of typhoons.
Yes, it's been a challenging year, and really typhoons, climate reality that is really becoming risk for a lot of areas in the Philippines should have been the focus of government. So for people like us trying to be an independent observer, you tend to look at this as, are these diversions from the real issue that during this budget season in the Philippines, all these audit reports come out, and why can't our own vice president simply address it? And from there, let's end this issue. And if there are really misappropriations of funds, then the Filipino people, I think, would like anyone who is involved in it to be made accountable for the misuse of funds in the country.
Victor, this is JP Ong. We also heard recently from former President Rodrigo Duterte, where it seems that he seemed to have called the military into action in some way, shape, or form. He stopped short of actually asking them to intervene. But again, how is this clouding the outlook? Because now you have a former president, and not the first time a former president has actually seemed to have hit out and gotten directly involved in a fracas involving the current president and the current vice president, who happens to actually be his daughter.
The former president, I think, is acting in behalf of the daughter to consolidate whatever forces remain with them. But really, we have seen from data that we track quarterly, since this start of the year, we have seen the support base of our president, former President Duterte, down to 16%. And our own military have shown for the past administrations how professional they are, that they will not involve themselves into such call by the president. So it has become, can you say, really a turn for the worse for this family, because there's nobody responding. And I use this opportunity to engage with leadership of the military in different, and there's no basis of support for the president. They remain to be supportive of the Constitution, and the constitutional leadership is actually President Marcos today. Mm-hmm. And also, when you speak of this disunity happening in the Philippines, since May of 2024, we have seen the president build an alternative unity. So when we launch the elections next year, you will notice that all those who fought against him in 2022 are now part of his broad coalition. Only the Dutertes are not part of this. So you see the Philippines being divided among simply Duterte followers and the broad political alliances built on different parties that even opposed President Marcos in 2022.
So now, Victor, we know that there's going to be a midterm election, for lack of a better term, in May, when the senatorial slate actually gets re-elected, or 12 seats there actually run for office. What is the sense now? Is this going to get worse as we head towards that May election next year? And should the business community in the Philippines and the international investor community be a bit concerned as this thing gets hotter and hotter and messier, it seems?
We see it actually an opportunity for the president to build a strong political base, so to push whatever he needs to push in the last 3 years of administration. I've been sitting down with different groups, business groups. We even hosted from our institute in Stratbase conference focused on outlook for 2025. And you see really a broad support for the president. So this becomes really an irritant or a noise that divert our focus where it should be. How can we really build an investment-led growth where jobs can be created to address challenges for Filipinos, ordinary Filipinos, still suffering from inflation and lack of livelihood opportunity. But the private and investment sector see it really as a growing economy and they tend to be more positive, and the noise of the Dutertes has become irritant for them instead of looking at how do we proceed in 2025.